Hello students, today we are going to discuss about Unit 1 of Agricultural Geography. I am Dr. Deepali Bhide, working as Assistant Professor in the Department of Geography, DG Ruparel College, Mumbai. In this topic, we will be discussing about the definitions, origin of agriculture and diffusion, about agriculture and human civilization, and also about various determinants of agriculture. So, physical factors, including topography, climate, and soils, socio-economic factors, which consist of size of land holdings, labor supply, skills, capital, technology, etc. So, at the end of this module, you will be able to understand the definitions about agricultural geography, origin of agriculture. You will learn about diffusion of agriculture. You will know the relationship between agriculture and human civilization, and also you will learn to analyze the determinants of agriculture, various physical and socio-economic factors. So this term agriculture is derived from Latin words ager, which means land or field, and cultura, which means cultivation. And therefore the term agriculture means cultivation of land. And as we know that food is one of the basic necessities of human life, therefore agriculture also plays a very significant role in human civilization and we cannot neglect it. So, agriculture includes cultivation of land, it also includes animal rearing because it is necessary to support cultivation, and animal rearing also provides additional food products. Now, let us see various definitions of agricultural geography. We know that geography is an interdisciplinary subject. Basically, it is divided into two major branches, physical geography and human geography. So, physical geography deals with most of the natural sciences, and human geography deals with social sciences. And agriculture geography is a sub branch of economic geography, which belongs to the human geography branch. So, agricultural geography is concerned with the spatial variations, distribution, and location of agricultural activities on the Earth's surface and the factors responsible for them. And therefore, it is a combination of both physical and socio-economic factors and studies their impact on farm enterprises and farm operations. So, etymologically, agricultural geography means the art of cultivation of soil with reference to natural environment and human circumstances. And we know it differs from one geographical region to another geographical region because there are many natural components like temperature, rainfall, soil conditions, water supply, wind, speed, and so on, which control the cultivation of crops. Now, agriculture, as we know, is one of the basic or primary economic activities because it is directly dependent on natural factors. Now, when we trace the origin of agriculture, it is really difficult to find out the exact date or time when exactly this activity began. But there has been a transition of human beings from purely hunter gatherer community to a farming community, which probably began some thousands of years ago. And the first agriculture operation appears to have developed at the closing of the last Pleistocene glacial period or Ice Age, which was around some 11,000 years back. And archaeobotanists have discovered that the cultivation of specific food plant characteristics in the early Holocene period in the Levant region of the Fertile Crescent. Anthropological and archaeological evidences from the sites across Southwest Asia and North Africa indicate use of wild grain. They've discovered around 8 founder crops of agriculture, like the first emmer and encorn wheat, barley, peas, lentils, chickpeas, which appeared after 9500 BCE, and these 8 crops occur almost simultaneously on pre-pottery Neolithic B sites in the Levant region. By 7000 BCE, sowing and harvesting reached Mesopotamia, and farming was established on the banks of river Nile by 6000 BCE. So during this period, agriculture was developed in the Far East, in China, where rice was the main crop. Maize was first domesticated, probably from Teonside in the Americas around 3000 to 2700 BCE. Potato, tomato, pepper, various varieties of bean, and several other plants were also developed in the New World. And similarly, on the island of New Guinea, agriculture was also developed. So, simultaneously, these developments were taking place in different parts of the Earth's surface. So, some of the known causes of agrarian transformation, like domestication of animals and agriculture, first started in Middle East. Then changes in the climatic conditions led to an effect on the distribution and growing patterns of crops, such as wild grains on which hunters and gatherers depended. Simultaneously, there was increase in human population, which also was responsible for demanding more food, and therefore sedentary farming started becoming common. So there was no need for people now to move from one place to another in search of food, which was a reality in the hunting gathering communities. So now with farming, they could stay at one place and grow crops. And as population started growing, more and more attention was given to the grain harvest, which was responsible for the first agrarian revolution. So scientists have identified two main hypotheses how this transition from hunting gathering to farming took place. So one of the hypotheses says that agriculture is an innovation that made the life more superior compared to the hunter gatherer life. And second is shortage of food resources. Primarily, the lack of wild animals for hunters was the precondition for the development of agriculture. So these could have been the known causes how agriculture started growing. And as it started growing, there was diffusion. So diffusion is nothing but spread of new ideas, practices, innovations, both in a geographical and a social sense. So innovation, any new idea that is developed, it is spread through various channels of communication over a period of time and through social system. These are the basic elements of a diffusion process. Now, diffusion of agricultural innovations is a process whereby new ways of doing things are spread within and between agrarian communities. So that helped in spreading of various agricultural innovations that were developed in different parts of the earth's surface. Now, agriculture and human civilization are very closely associated. So we saw that 10,000 years back, there was a shift from hunting gathering activities to agriculture, and definitely that brought in a transition or a change in lifestyle. More time was available for people, and this available time was then utilized in building of permanent homes, and also new discoveries or new innovations were brought in the scene. And as these settlements started developing, simultaneously as the population was increasing, there was also an emergence of new social class like warriors and priests. And similarly, for cultivation of crops, more labor was required. Now, around 8000 to 3500 BC, greater numbers of humans shifted to cultivation of crops and domesticated animals for their subsistence. By 7000 BC, the advancement of their tools and skills was notified. More better tools and skills were developed, which will definitely help in cultivation. And in 3500 BC, in the present day Middle East area, the first civilization was developed. Now, in the late Paleolithic times, both wild barley and wheat they were cultivated over large areas in present day Turkey, Iraq, Syria, Jordan, Lebanon, and Israel. Now, these early farmers they used very crude methods of cultivation. They were just sprinkling seeds on the ground, and after the rainfall will occur, those seeds will germinate. Some of them will germinate, some will die, and then the harvesting of crops will be done. Now, from the current stock, these seeds were kept aside for next cropping season, and therefore there was a combination of shifting cultivation and hunting, because only relying on agriculture may not have been sufficient for food, so some kind of hunting also was practiced. Similarly, domestication of animals like dogs, sheep, goats, cattle, etc. was done because these animals they provide various products like milk, meat, skin, dung. Similarly, the animal power can be used on farms for doing various farm operations and even as a means of transport. Now, let us see the determinants of agriculture. So, what are the factors that influence agriculture in India? Starting with the physical factors, we come across topography and altitude. So, we know that how is the nature of the land, whether it is a plain area or whether it is a coastal plain or it is a so, what is the height of the land area that also matters, and that also decides what type of crop can be cultivated. So, for example, rice requires flat land where water can remain stagnant on the farm, but for cultivation of tea plantations, a hill slope is required because for tea plantation, stagnation of water is harmful and water has to flow. It cannot remain in the same area for a long time. Second factor is climate. Climate we know plays a very significant role, and temperature, rainfall, wind, etc. These are various factors of climate which control or decide agricultural pattern. So, with reference to temperature, the upper limit of temperature is mostly 40 degrees Celsius. If the temperature rises above 40 degrees Celsius, then uh, evaporation will take place, drying of soil will take place, and even the lower limit of the temperature is necessary to be noted, and temperature therefore controls germination, foliation, blossoming, etc. of crops. So crops like cocoa, coffee, rubber, spices, etc. they require different temperature of more than 18 degrees Celsius. Rainfall again is very crucial because water is essential for plant growth. But again, different types of crops they require different quantity of water. So heavy rainfall at the time of maturity of cotton, wheat, oilseeds, etc. can be dangerous. It can result into loss of grain. Similarly, areas which get very scanty rainfall, the drought prone areas, dry farming is practiced. Then we have wind. Wind, which is very strong, can destroy crops. Movement of wind can increase evaporation, transpiration, and hence the requirement of water increases. So, wind also controls agricultural uh, activity on a larger scale. Soil, fertility of soil, texture of soil, what is the humus content, that will again directly affect crop and the productivity of land. So different type of crops they require different type of soil. For example, alluvial soil supports good growth of wheat, barley, gram, oilseeds, etc. Rice crop requires clayey loam soil. Bajra, pulses, they can grow very well in sandy soil. Cotton can be cultivated in regur or black soil. Moving on to the socio-economic factors. What is the size of land holding? The problem of fragmentation of land. Now, for agriculture production to be of a good amount, the land also should be larger in area. Available land for cultivation also should be in a larger area. Now, those areas which have dense population, especially in the developing countries, mostly the land holdings are small. And if the land holdings are small, the farmer has to take a risk. Uh, if the land size is small, then automatically there can be less agricultural production. If the size of the farm is large, then the farmer has a greater capacity to take risk and vice versa. Hence, what we observe is that adoption of scientific methods of cultivation, application of high yielding variety seeds is slightly difficult in areas which have small land holdings. Similarly, fragmentation of land is another issue. This fragmentation process is observed in countries like India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, and Sri Lanka. So, where according to the inheritance laws of these countries, the property of the deceased is equally divided among the male heirs, which can result into subdivision of land, and then the land area or the land size becomes small. So these small land holdings can bring in lower returns to the farmer. Second factor is labor supply and skills. So availability of labor is considered as a major limitation in agricultural land use and cropping patterns of a region. Its quantity and quality at the periods of peak labor demand have a greater influence on decision making process of the farmer. Now labor inputs, they differ in demand considerably around the year because different types of cropping pattern will require different types of labor skills and labor force. So availability of labor also becomes a problem in areas where there is a chance that the farm labor may get employment in industrial areas. So then availability of labor force for farming can be affected. Capital, of course, is necessary because there are various agricultural inputs like you have to buy animals, livestock, irrigation, seeds, fertilizers, insecticides, machinery, fuel, etc., for which capital is required, plus the repair and the services of all these machinery, etc., will also require capital. So the farmer's decision differs on the basis of capital to invest. And if there is more investment in terms of capital, the farmer may also have an inclination towards cultivation of cash crops or market oriented crops, which will bring in more returns. So whatever capital the farmer has invested, more profit can be obtained. Technology plays a very crucial role. Over a period of time, we have seen that the farm operations, the farming technology also has changed. And in order to get maximum output, technological development is crucial. Use of modern hand tools, animal drawn implements, tractors, threshers, etc. They play a very vital role. Similarly, selection of crops, Overall crop management also plays a very significant role, and these are necessary to improve crop yield. So, in India, especially in the Punjab and Haryana region, we see that there are farmers where they make use of tractors on a larger scale, and slowly the animal power is getting replaced by machinery. Transportation facilities also directly affect the cropping pattern of a region. Connected network of transport plays a very positive role with reference to the farming operations. Good transport linkages may bring in more opportunities to the farmers, especially with perishable crops, vegetables, flowers, fruits, etc. They have to reach the market in a very short period of time. So, a very well connected network of transportation plays a significant role. For example, now in India, the hilly states of Northeast, especially Meghalaya, Mizoram, Nagaland, etc., now, because of poor means of transport and inadequate road linkages, even if they have surplus of crops like ginger, pineapple, bananas, etc., they cannot reach in time because of a very uh, ill connected transport network. Marketing facilities are important as the final produce has to be sold in the market. It is necessary what type of marketing strategy the farmer uses. The farmer should know what are the current trends in the market, what crops are in demand, what are not required. Similarly, markets can be at different levels: local level, regional level, national level, international level. So, if the farmer is aware of these different conditions at different levels, then the farmer can earn more profit. And finally, government policy. So, agricultural land use and cropping patterns are also influenced by government policies. There is a lot of fluctuation in the prices of sugarcane, wheat, oilseeds, etc. And that can give a kind of support to the farmers, or it can result into disincentives to the cultivators to grow these crops. So, under different political situations, the government may stop the farmers to grow certain crops, or they may encourage the farmers to grow in certain crops because of certain international agreements, etc. So, government policies also have a strong influence on the cropping pattern. So, to summarize, we have discussed about the origin of agriculture and its importance in the development of human civilization. Similarly, we have also discussed about the factors influencing agriculture in India, how both physical and socio-economic factors are crucial. Let me tell you that this entire discussion is based on the study material provided to you by the IDOL University of Mumbai. To check your progress, please refer to the question answers that are given in the study material and enjoy the discussion on agricultural geography. Thank you.